and the dissonance you feel are having no effect on it whatsoever, but are having total effect on your perception of it. And so now, projected onto your innocent and unchangeable, perfect body, projected onto it is your misperception and the discomfort from trying to have a misperception and believe the misperception. That's why you can have an instantaneous healing. Why is that? Not because matter can reconfigure real fast if God comes into the picture, but because your body hadn't stopped for a moment to be the distortion that you have committed yourself to. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
And the moment you abandon that misperception, the minute you abandon your commitment to the fact that your misperception is real, the misperception will vanish just like that, and it will vanish to you as well as everyone else. And so one minute the doctor says you have cancer, and the next minute he can't find it there. Mm-hmm. Why? Because your spiritual understanding has caused matter to reconfigure? No, because your clear awareness caused matter to disappear, because it never was matter to begin with. Your body never was matter to begin with. Are you all beginning to get a feel for what I'm saying? So you're a little chunky, excuse me. Are you? No. No, you're not. There's perfect balance of form and outline and color. And you're a little taller. Right now. See, I'm not talking about some fantastic form of the power of positive thinking. Because we're not talking about you're making this material body become a more lovely, taller material body. We're talking about the fact that reality is not the way you're experiencing it at the moment, but reality is what is happening, seen through a glass darkly. This is not a form of escapism. It's not a form of fantastic mind-bending. If you are willing to grasp the fact that you're not experiencing reality in its totality exactly as it really is right now, but it's here to experience, and it's your function to experience it, then you will give yourself permission to have some radical changes, some radical healings, if you will. Some radical transformations in your experience, which your present conditioning disallows. Your definite belief that you're getting older, that you're this or that, and your commitment to it disallows for you to see instantaneous transformation. And yet I'm telling you, that's what's in store for you as soon as you begin to allow for it, give permission for it. Now, argumentative Paul is saying, well, after 22 years of working with you, Raj, why haven't I experienced something like that? And the rest of you could say, well, if Paul hasn't had these transformational experiences, how can I expect it? He talks to Raj. But both of you are doing the same thing. You're arguing against having the experience. Paul needs to bring a little bit more genuine, undefended curiosity into the picture.
Is that where the self-sabotage comes in? Do we Do we set ourselves up to keep from experiencing that?
Of course you do. Of course you do. And one of the reasons is because you think it's going to bring new responsibilities to you. Another thing it suggests is that you won't be able to communicate with your old friends. Probably nobody will like the new you. Because probably you won't put up with any shit anymore. Oh yeah. You have all sorts of habits of inaction. You purposely don't allow things. You purposely don't do things. But it's a habit. You don't even think about it. The light in the pantry went out. And so for a week and a half, Paul and Susan went into the pantry and fumbled around in the dark. The light was fixed. And for another week, they went in and fumbled around in the dark because they had gotten into the habit of not turning on the light. That's what I mean by a habit of inaction. And you don't even realize that you've become habituated. They didn't think, oh, the light doesn't work and therefore I'm not going to bother to turn it on. They didn't think anything. They didn't do anything. They just went in and repeated the habit of not reaching for the light switch. And you all have habits of inaction, of not doing things without even knowing, without it being a conscious decision. Why do I talk to you? To remind you that you have another choice. You can turn on the light switch. The light works now. Hey, turn on the switch. And you say, oh yeah, I forgot. And then next time you go through that door, you don't turn on the light switch. Oh yeah, I forgot. And you keep forgetting, and so I keep telling you, because one of these days it will register with you and you will go in and turn on the light switch and say, wow, I had a lot more than I thought I had. There's a lot more to me than I thought there was. I'm a lot different than I thought I was. Wow, so is she. Oh, so is he. My goodness, and she's lovely. And the world's a good place. You see what I'm saying? The ultimate isn't off in the future. It's going on right now, and it's going on right there. And it's different from what you're experiencing, but it's you. And because it, in its ultimate perfection, is going on right now, you can have an instantaneous shift of perception where it's not hidden from you. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
Isn't the key point to remember, know that you're the conscious, your awareness, the consciousness in which all these things are arising? You talked about that.
I'm sorry, could you say it one more time?
You said that we're the consciousness in which all these arise. So isn't the point to remember ourselves as awareness or consciousness? And then, because I feel the forms are what seem to be connected with the habits.
Well, you see, you can't be conscious without being conscious of something, can you? That's all. That's to be conscious of nothing is unconsciousness.
You can be aware of awareness.
Well, that's then you're being conscious of awareness.
All right.
But awareness, consciousness is the conscious awareness of something.
But what's more important, the forms or the awareness?
You can't split the awareness and the forms apart. They're not two different things. The statement has been made, mind, meaning God, mind spake and form appeared. Mind moved, and it was a conscious experience. And God looked at the conscious experience that he was having as a result of his being mind moving. And behold, it was very good. Behold, he saw himself in it. And there's nothing nebulous about it. There's nothing nebulous about you. The movement of mind is recognizable to mind as infinite creation. And you would say, as recognizable forms, we can get closer to it by saying recognizable patterns of moving energy. Now, I haven't been talking about form being important. I've been talking about the fact that form and mind are inseparable. And I've been talking about the fact that you block yourself from the experience of reality through the misuse of your mind. So I'm talking about allowing the right use of your mind. Right?
Yes.
That is where it's at. But the moment the right use of your mind occurs, everything you experience, everything you see, is going to shift. Because you're going to see the fullness of mind without blockages. You're going to see creation without the distortions of your unclear thinking and your internal commitment to what you're choosing to see.
That's not my mind. We don't have individual minds. Now you must be speaking about one mind.
Say it in a different way.
This is hard. I just feel like the personal perspective is not working for me. It's not who I am.
You're right.
You know?
It doesn't work for anyone.
No.
I've said before that mind is infinite. Mind has no boundaries. But what you call the ego is where a sphere has been, like a bubble, has been blown in the middle of mind. And now the majority of mind that you are, we'll say, is on the outside of the bubble. And a very small part of this very same mind is apparently enclosed by a bubble. And you think that this that's inside the bubble is your mind. And all that's happened is that you've dissociated yourself from all the rest of it. And you said, this small part of the infinite mind that I am, that isn't separate in any way from anything or anyone else, is all there is of me. And I'm committed to pumping more soap into that bubble so that it will ensure this tiny sense of myself, it will ensure the existence of this tiny sense of myself, because then the bubble won't pop. Now, if you want to know the truth, if you're going to be open to the truth, you're going to be open to what's going on outside the circumference of the bubble. And indeed, as the sudden shift of perception occurs and you see everything correctly, you will also be experiencing yourself as no longer a tiny personal mind, but you'll still be you. So we're talking about an integration of the whole of you, and not a little personal mind inside the bubble managing somehow to see reality more truly without there having been any transformation of your experience of being conscious awareness. Am I making sense now?
Well, you know, the Buddhists say I haven't experienced it, that there's formless, something like a formless awareness or consciousness. So are you saying that isn't true?
No, I'm not saying that isn't true.
Okay.
Mind is formless in that it has no boundaries. It's infinite. There is no limit. And in this infiniteness, all conscious experience of being is occurring. The conscious experience is an experience of infinite variety. It's called creation. But it's all the conscious experience of the movement of this formless mind experiencing its movement. The only thing is that God doesn't become captured by the movement.
Yeah.
And you
Which
do.
we do, yeah. You've spoken about a shift of identification. So before, in other times, so this is what we're talking about now.
Yes, this new culture that I've begun using this word because you understand if you move from your country and visit another country, you suddenly understand what the word culture means. You don't think you're acculturated, but once you discover what it means to be in another culture, you also realize that you're just as cultured as they are. The point is that this new culture involves you experiencing yourself in a new way, with new values and new focuses, and an absence of attraction to that which binds you. A lessened ability to be hooked by the irrelevant. And here's another reason that you foul yourselves up. You find yourself not valuing the things that you used to value. And a lot of the things that you value, you don't want to let go of, even though they were a hindrance, because they're familiar to you. Paul's a perfect example. He still wants the right to have a little bit of time to do things his way, or to do what he wants to do when he wants to do it, without asking where it fits in. There are things that you value that you won't let go of. So it's not just that you might have more, you think you might have more and bigger responsibilities that you don't care to have. It's also that you're going to have to let go of some cherished things, even though they've been killing you. Does that answer your question?
Yes, there's just so much more. You know?
Well, we do need to get on to the others. At this point, let's move on to new questions rather than follow-up questions. So, hands, right there.
I'm not sure how to ask this. I suppose for many years I've been allowing my own personal reactions that I'm unconscious of to, I suppose, facilitate my life in such a way that perhaps I use my body muscles, the soft flesh type of my part of my body, and the skeletal part in such a way that I suppose I had like an unhealthy posture. And I think ultimately it resulted in, mechanically speaking, medically speaking, compressed disc in the lumbar area. And so I would like for you to talk to me and to others about how unconscious reactions to everyday, interactions with significant others, our boss, our family, even our own relationship with ourselves, may have resulted in a physical manifestation of how those unconscious reactions manifest themselves within our body. In my case, once again, mine apparently manifested itself in the lumbar area. And I've known some people, who had a sense of empowerment in their lives. They stood erect. They didn't seem to have an awareness that they even had a spine. They just simply did and functioned. And as they grew older, there was apparently no, skeletal muscular situation. You see what I'm getting at? I'm not describing this as well as I realize I hope to do.
By the same token, there are others who didn't have that feeling, who didn't stand erect, whose posture was poor, and they also had no physical problems.
Why?
Indeed. Because that's not the word that they gave to themselves.
I feel like what I'm describing is almost universal in many ways, because
It isn't, you have described it well, and it really isn't necessary for me to amplify on it. All of you are experiencing physically, emotionally, intellectually, in every way, you are experiencing exactly what you believe it is your right to experience. Now that may sound funny because some of you feel you are experiencing less than the best, so why would you feel a right to it? I mean it in the sense that you don't feel a right to any more than that. And so that is what you feel a right to. Remember that right there, where you're sitting, is the Christ, is the direct expression of God. And the direct expression of God is recognizable. Therefore, there's what is called visibility and tangibility to it. And that visibility and tangibility is utterly perfect and beautiful. That is what's going on right now. If you're experiencing something less than that, I'm going to tell you something else, a big secret. It is because of what you are believing in this instant, and not because of how you stood and how you believed for the last 30 years. Maybe you're still believing today the way you did 30 years ago, but what you're experiencing now is not a result of the way you were thinking 30 years ago. It's a result of what you feel a right to at this moment. And part of your thinking at the moment is that you don't have a right to more than what you're experiencing because of all the bad stuff you did to yourself for the last 20 years. Do you see what I'm saying? You're only ever suffering from your current frame of mind, from your current beliefs. And it has nothing to do with the past. Now, part of your current beliefs may be about the past. Well, I had a terrible childhood. My father beat me unmercifully. I developed an attitude of self-defense and kept myself constantly on the alert. I was constantly tense and blah, blah, blah. You're saying that in this instant. And in this instant, your commitment to that idea is what governs how you're experiencing your body in this instant. So you don't have to undo a past. All that needs to happen is a sudden shift of perception in this moment regarding beliefs that you are initializing in this instant and being committed to in this instant. Today is not an accumulation of past days. It is the direct expression of what you currently believe.
It's helpful to relax with this dynamic. Just relax and just let it go where it wants to go. And understand that I'm still me. I always have been. Isn't this, and I always will be. And in this present moment, that's where my joy is. And not only with myself, but with you and with everyone.
Yes.
And so, therefore, if I have, if I'm tempted to allow, if I'm tempted to not trust that that's true, well, then I'm subject to those patterns that you're talking about, those reactions that in the past that I may not have been conscious of, but yet believe that they were real. I know I sound probably as if I'm not truly following what you're saying, but
you are not experiencing a culmination of bad habits in the past.
And that's the truth.
You're suffering from a misperception of what is really going on there right now. Now, that's good news, but that's not enough. Now, you have to be curious to experience what's really going on there right now. The idea called a disc is an idea, we'll say, in the mind of God. That idea is intact and unchanged because every idea in the mind of God is eternal. Therefore, right now, there is no crushed disc there. There's a misperception of a perfect disc, which you believe is real because for the last 20 or 30 years, you mistreated yourself consciously or unconsciously. But that's today's belief. You all need to start inviting the conscious experience of what's really going on, with the expectation that you can experience it instantaneously. And if it doesn't seem to be instantaneous, you could say you can experience it transformationally over a period of time. You all must begin to expect. You must all begin to expect some benefit from the truth that you're studying. Actual transformation, actual regeneration, actual redemption. And redemption means bringing back to the spiritual original. You better let yourself become acculturated into the new culture, into a new culture. And part of that new culture is in letting the truth come forth as an experience. So that the next time an X-ray is taken, he says, "What do you mean a crushed disc? There's no crushed disc here. What are you talking about?" Or he'll say, "Pardon me, I think we got our X-rays mixed up."
Good. For me, but not the other person.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. There is a voice for good that speaks to me and everyone. And I've
Yeah.
just allowed myself to be distracted from it. It's as simple as that, I suppose.
Yes, but that's called the human condition. That's called the ego. Yes. And I say, big deal. You've all done it. Big deal. Now you know you've done it. And what it amounts to is that you've done nothing and believed it was something. And it didn't cost anybody anything. So don't feel guilty about it, but don't do it. Stop doing it. Start doing something new if you want. If you want to make your quest for truth be anything more than lip service, if you want to have an experience of it.
I wish to say publicly right now, I do wish to have that experience and to be a part of it. Period.
Okay. We will take a break.